You feel sleepy and relaxed. So relaxed. You trust me and what I say. The government love you. The government cares for you. Watch the television. This is the truth. Criminals and terrorists want to kill you. The government will save you. The police will save you. We need to go to war to protect you. We are here to look after you. Conspiracy theorists are insane and dangerous. Be fearful. You are small and weak. The government is strong. We will look after you. Obey. You must obey. Do not challenge authority. You are bad. Humans are bad. You must work hard. To survive, you must have more money. You must be better than him and her. You are separate and alone. Other people want to hurt you and take what is yours. You must always respect authority. This is the truth. The truth. The truth. You are fearful. Fearful. You do not like music. You do not like people who smoke. You do not like people who try to tell you things that are bad about your government. These people are dangerous. They are not to be trusted. Take your vaccine, or swine flu will kill you. We care. You must buy our products, pay your taxes, and watch the television. Do not question authority. Keep fighting each other. Do not question. Violence in films is sexy and exciting. Sex with strangers behind your partner's back is exciting. Your partner is boring. Your partner is cheating on you. Does not love you. You are worthless and not worthy of being loved at all.
So, now we have HAARP, of course, in Alaska, which might have picked up the load. Is that possible?
Well, HAARP, is a different kind of project, and there is a sister project to HAARP in northern Norway. And I recently met a man who was a helicopter pilot in Vietnam and then was transferred to the Alaska area, and he told me that there's at least 12 facilities that are related to HAARP globally. And he personally saw this in northern Alaska.
I wonder if that's a reason why our weather is so screwed up, Stewart.
I absolutely agree. What HAARP is doing is creating a shield in the ionosphere over the Earth and trying to create weather manipulation so that we think there's such things as global warming when in fact it's just a manipulation of our weather and geological events as well.
Let me ask you about the success of Montauk. Do you know if they accomplished anything that was just truly extraordinary?
Well, I think that they did accomplish their goal, and right now, 100% of the Earth is affected by mind control or scalar waves that are transmitted now from satellites in space that completely ring the Earth and are enhanced by ground antenna that we see as cell tower microwave transmissions, so that at any moment they can transmit a mind control wave to specific areas of the Earth to specific people. And a lot of what's happening now with the chemtrails is also creating a web or a network around the Earth, like a shield or radio wiring, so that it's like a grid that covers the Earth, and they can pinpoint very specific locations now and transmit whatever they wish to create.
Yeah. We've just got to not let fear get to us, because that's the control system's most potent weapon. Well, I think that, the spraying from the air, I've been to 50 countries over the last 20 years, and even when I visit my friend Credo Mutwa, the Zulu shaman in South Africa near the Kalahari Desert, you look up in the sky and the bloody chemtrails are there. They're everywhere. And there's obviously a reason for that. And one of the things I've learned over this 20 years of research is that there's never one reason for anything. Mm-hmm. There are multiple reasons. Part of it is destabilizing the human immune system. Part of it is creating a sub-reality around the planet to manipulate the energetic field that we're living in every day. And I'm absolutely convinced that the chemtrails and the manipulation of the lower levels of the energetic field, Earth's energetic field, which we live in and experience all the time, is connected in part to the HAARP transmissions, which, of course, HAARP has many, many multiple levels of technology and applications, and one of them is literally creating mass fields of thought, which we decode as our own. I had a friend in America who told me a few weeks ago that she, her husband, her son, and a son's partner had exactly the same dream about Barack Obama in the same night, which was a dream saying that he was a good guy and a wonderful guy and all the rest of it, which a day's research will show you is a nonsense. But and she said immediately that she felt that some kind of technology had been broadcast and people had picked it up. What they're seeking to access is the pineal gland to literally transmit thought, perceptions, dreams into your reality. We need to be aware of this, because not every dream is a premonition of all the rest of it. They can be broadcast out, and we can decode them and thinking it's a dream we're having when it's actually something we're picking up, and that's what part of the HAARP system is. And I think that this chemtrail stuff and many other things that are being dropped are in part connected.
When you're bombarded with electromagnetic waves and microwaves and basically traumatized and tortured, very few can survive that kind of life. And in fact, a lot of the subjects were children, and so they just didn't make it.
Children of maybe some of the people who work there?
No, these initially they used orphans. They would use the children who were in foster care, people who they considered to be expendable and would not be missed. Then later on, as the program progressed, then they would start taking children from conventional families. People, there are so many kidnappings in this country, especially you notice it spiked in the 1970s and 80s, and these children were basically used for the mind control experiments. They knew, especially people with genetics of blonde hair, blue eyes, red hair, green eyes, such people have an enzyme in their genetics that allow for mind control to be more acceptable to the mind and the body.
What did they do with these children afterwards?
Well, their bodies were, those who didn't make it, their bodies were disposed of. They would burn them, bury them under the ocean. They would dispose of them in whatever manner was convenient at the time.
What about those who did make it?
Well, a lot of them, unfortunately, are in such a mental state that they're not able to function very well in society. A lot of the people that we see in mental institutions, a lot of the people that we see in prisons, many of them have been subjected to these mind control experimentations. One of the people that I did meet over the years, also connected to government, told me that he knows in a very remote area outside of Reno, Nevada, the government has a facility where they actually store some of the subjects of mind control who are being used for continuous study under the guise of it being a home for the elderly or insane.
Now, this control, this mind control series of experiments, Stewart, what did they want to accomplish?
Bottom line is they wanted to create a global robotic society, very much like you'd see on Star Trek, the Borg, where everyone has a specific function, a specific designation. No one asks any questions. You just go through your life doing what you're told to do in a specific function, and you never deviate from that. And in that way, it ensures a society that does not change, and the control system stays intact.
My gosh.
And you know what? They're pretty much there. When I look out there in the public and I hear how people react to things, they just believe whatever they're told. No one questions anything. Now, yes, there's a few people who like myself, who make a lot of noise, but for the most part, people just follow along and don't question anything.
It's like the Pied Piper of Hamlet.
Yeah, they're afraid. They're afraid because what will the government say? What will they do to me? So they just go along with everything. You see this in the airports. You see this in office buildings. Everyone is terrified of going outside the box.
David, I have to ask you this question, too, because somebody knew I was going to be doing this show with you, and they wanted me to ask you this question, and I'm curious what your answer is. Now, there's some proof out there that there are electromagnetic weaponry, things that can interfere with people's consciousness. There are electromagnetic fields as a form of stopping people, making them sick, giving them cancer, those kinds of things. What's your take on that whole topic? What do you feel is truthful about that?
I think there's no question that's true. Yes. I mean, I've gone through some amazing, funnily enough, electromagnetic attacks myself. They've actually pretty much stopped now, funnily enough. But around the end of 2009, right across January and February, every night, virtually every night, I would wake up and there would be these tremendous electromagnetic fields in the bedroom. They sometimes look like metallic, like spider things and all the rest of it. But then there was it wasn't that, you could just see them. You could feel them very powerfully too. I remember one night they were disrupting my sleep so much that I got up out of the bedroom and I walked into my lounge and I lay on the sofa and I fell asleep there and I woke up again. And I looked across, and next to the television set was this, Catherine wheels, these fireworks Catherine wheels. Mm-hmm. There was a spinning kind of Catherine wheel of, it wasn't colored, energy, and it was spinning with extraordinary speed. And in the middle was, again, a metallic spider-like thing going out, like the core of it. And I watched it. It wasn't that it was just there for a few seconds and then went. I watched it for about a minute and a half. And I got up, and I thought, I'm going to see what this is going on. I walked towards it. And as I walked very close towards it, it had gone. And this went on for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then just suddenly stopped. I have it, kind of maybe 2 or 3 times a month now, but nothing like as intense as I did then. What that was all about, I have no idea. But that was, and that at the time when I was going through that experience, it was disrupting my health. My rheumatoid arthritis, which is not good at the best of times, was very, very bad then, and I had 1 or 2 other health situations. But again, I'll be honest. What I used to do, I used to wake up, turn over, see all this metallic electromagnetic stuff around me, and I would, shall I say, give it the finger, and then then I would turn over and go back to sleep. It was quite funny because instead of they're out to get me or whatever, it's like okay, whatever, throw anything at me. I'm not bothered.
This fascinates me. So tell me how it could occur and what the motive is behind it.
For the last century, in order to create control over people, the best way is to instill fear. And so we've seen this with World War II, the fear of the Nazis, then the Cold War, and now we have the terrorist fear. Everyone's afraid and trying to unite against that.
Some of the fear could be real, but maybe magnified.
Yes, but of course the terrorists are a creation of the New World Order and would not exist on their own.
Very possible.
Yeah. There's no way that they could have possible, it's a long story, but so the next thing is to create a fear beyond this planet that would force the planet to unite under one world government. In other words, create the situation.
Free our minds from the programming that turns infinite consciousness, having an experience, into a 4-legged animal from which we get wool, that have lost the ability to decide perception and reality for themselves and have to have it decided for them.
So the solution can be imposed. If we are told that we are being attacked by an unknown alien civilization with amazing weapons, imagine the fear and terror that would pervade the earth.
Everybody would band together.
Correct, and demand that the countries of the earth do something together to stop this threat.
Yes.
And of course, then we would have a new world order government, a singular government that controls the planet, which we already have anyway, but now would be officially wanted by the people. That would be public. And then we would have this imaginary battle. They have something called Blue Beam Project. And Blue Beam Project is holographic images that are projected into the atmosphere and can look like anything. It can look like a religious figure. It can look like a UFO fleet. It could look like missiles. They've been targeting and practicing with this since the early 1960s when they actually tested it over Havana Harbor, when a U.S. submarine projected the image of the Virgin Mary over Havana and was seen by all the people in the evening streets.
As crazy as this sounds, some of it sounds very possible.
Well, all you got to do is look at the newspaper, watch CNN, and you can see all of it happening. And it's right there in front of us.
What minds developed this?
Well, this is not new. This has been going on since day zero on this planet for the ultimate domination and control of the planet. But I feel that it cannot ultimately be successful because, as I mentioned before the last break, we have that 97% of DNA that scientists call junk DNA. And the thing is that 97% is common through all species, no matter what the species. To me, that's proof of God or God mind, that there's a common 97% DNA through all species. And only 3% of DNA differentiates species and individuals within that species. So to me, that's very mind-boggling and proof of a higher intelligence. If we can tap in and open up that unused DNA, we would have abilities that would enable us to remove victimization mind pattern that enables these things to occur.
Well, explain that a little bit more. How?
Well, human beings have a victimization mind pattern that attracts tyrants and oppressors. And we project out from our minds into physical reality what our thoughts are, and the universe reflects that for us. Think of the analogy as thoughts being film, the brain being the projector, and physical reality as the screen. So if we don't like the movie of our life that's playing, we need to change the film, which is the way we think. If we think in victimization terms and vulnerability terms, we will create that kind of a world. If we take our mind back and control ourselves, then this cannot happen. We cannot be controlled by others.
Why do they need the alien invasion to implement this? Why don't they just continue to push the terrorism agenda, for example? I mean, that will create fear no matter what, especially if they magnify it.
Initially, but that can last for just so long, just like the Cold War could only last for just so long.
And then people will say enough is enough.
Right. But an alien threat, well, that's out there in the universe, which is vast. That's forever.
And it's also them against us.
Correct.
Basically.
Correct. And so that's the ultimate fear user, where everybody wants to band together to fight against this.
Stuart, you do know, if this is possible, how warped their minds must be.
Well, again, that's why I explained the reptilian mindset. They think differently than human beings. We think in a different way than they do. They have in their minds all the time in the world because their genetics don't change. Their culture stays the same through mind control and programming, so there's no deviation. They're very sure of what they're doing. To them, in their minds, what they do is holy to them.
How long do they live, each, as a physical being? How long?
Well, we know the Queen Mother admitted to being 100-something years old, and she was a lot older than that. They can live several hundred years in the same body.
The Queen Mother is a reptilian?
Oh, she was, yes. Did you see the size of her coffin? It was not the size of her human body.
I did not see the size of her coffin. Is there a picture I can find on the internet?
Well, there might be. I don't know, but it was quite much larger than what should have been for that little lady's body.
How big was it?
It was pretty large. It was to me like a little piano case.
Oh, like 8 feet, 9 feet?
It was big. I don't know how. I mean, you can only see from the pictures, but it was very large.
You're saying when she died, the Queen Mother reverted to the reptilian stage.
Yes.
And then became this large reptilian, and that's what they buried her in.
Yes, that is correct.
Sounds like David Icke's been getting to you on this one, Stewart.
Well, the truth is still the truth. I've had reporters tell me that they know about this but cannot ever report on it.
You mean British reporters?
Actually, an American reporter said this to me, as well as a British reporter.
That the royal family, are they pure reptilians or hybrids?
They're shapeshifters, obviously. They go into human form. And isn't it interesting that Prince Harry this week said that he could never be normal? Now, of course, you could take that several ways, but I take it in a way that he knows he's also a reptilian shapeshifter.
Well, I was going to say, do these members know who they are or what they are?
Of course. When you're a shapeshifter, you know that. You know what you are. And
all right, but how come you said like yourself that you have reptilian blood? I do. Mm-hmm. That's what you said. How come you can't shapeshift?
Because I don't have a 50-50 split in genetics.
Ah, but they do.
They do.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. You can't. You need to have a majority, at least, of the genetics in order to manifest the characteristics of the species.
Most people in power on this planet are 50-50?
No, I would not say most. I would say that there is quite a few, but I would say most are not shapeshifters, but there are many shapeshifters. And they're not just in control positions. There are many in all walks of life, because they need to control every layer of mankind.
Do you think that lack of, do you think that the fear equation is also included in this? Because if you're afraid that they can get to you, then that changes the whole game, doesn't it?
No, that's a very important point, because what we're dealing with here is frequencies that are either compatible or not compatible. If someone is vibrating to the frequency of radio 1, when radio 2 tries to attack it, it can't do it. It can't do it because radio 1 and radio 2 are on different frequencies. Once you get, and of course the base frequency of the control system is fear. It's low vibrational emotion. And an interesting thing that I've noticed in my life over the years is one of the ways that the attempt has been to undermine me, and it's going on at this time, funnily enough, not that it will work, is to create situations and people around me that will pull me in to that low vibrational emotional state. Because once you're pulled into that, you're actually syncing with the vibrational frequency of the control system, and then they can start to make an impact upon you. And so if you can stay outside of that, then you're vibrating at one frequency, the control system's vibrating at another, and never the twain shall meet. This is why it's so important. And I'm speaking to myself here as I say this. I'm not the guru, Buddha, sitting on a mountain cross-legged saying, this is what you must do. I've sussed it. We're all in this, and we're all kind of working to get ourselves in a certain state, me included. But when you're aware of it, it makes it more easier. And what we need to do is to just hold this understanding that we are infinite consciousness having an experience. We're not the experience. I'm not David Icke. David Icke's my experience. I'm infinite consciousness having an experience as David Icke. And when you come from that perspective, it helps you hold perspective on the experiences that we have instead of being pulled into them, so that you are the experience as well as having the experience, which means that you're pulled into a vibrational state where if it's an unpleasant experience and a stressful and fearful experience, well, then you're being pulled into the stadium in which the control system plays at home. And it's important that we hold this understanding, and it's a real challenge because all the 5 sense influences are telling us that you are David Icke, you were born in Leicester in 1952, and you are just one person, just Joe Public, you have no power. But if we can resist getting pulled into that, to realize that the reflection in the mirror is the reflection of the experience, it's not a reflection of who we are, though you can see who we are through the eyes often, then you're in this world, as I've said many times before, you're in this world having the experience, but you're not of this world in the point of that you're perceiving the experience, and that can have a very powerful impact on not getting pulled into fear and stress and all the rest of it, which allows you to enter the control system's stadium on which it wants everybody. That's why it's created a society which is there to generate maximum fear, maximum worry, maximum anxiety, maximum conflict. It's because they want us in a certain vibrational frequency range, because that's the one that they can lock into us through. And for me, there was a great song years ago. It wasn't actually a great song, but the theme was it. It was by a guy called Val Doonican, an Irish singer, when I was a kid. And it said, "Walk tall, walk straight, and look the world right in the eye." That's what my mama told me when I was about knee high. And if we are infinite consciousness and we are expressions of the infinite one, then we should be looking each other in the eye. Oh yes, respect other aspects of consciousness for what they're doing, what they stand for, what they're expressing. Yes, good. But don't get a crick in the neck looking up, because you are them, they are you, I am you, you are me. And I still see hierarchical structures big time often within the New Age movement. And hierarchy is illusion. Hierarchy is the control system. We cannot have a situation of hierarchy and then claim that everyone is an expression of the one. We either are or we're not. And of course hierarchies are the way that the control system imposes itself in so many ways, because hierarchies are the few dictating to the many. And that can be a few bankers dictating to the entire banking system, a few politicians dictating to an entire nation, or it can be a few heroes in the New Age dictating or allowing allowing them to be themselves to be dictated to when they are the vast majority. And for me, these blueprint structures of the control system, you find them everywhere if you look for them. And it's hierarchy is the old limitation. I'm above you, you're above me, I know my place. That's the old epoch. That's what's coming down. The pyramids of power, they're coming down, because that's an expression of the old energy. And it's a shame that so much of the New Age, or significant swathes of it anyway, are still into hierarchy. It's not the way it is. I would suggest anyway, but everyone must believe what they want to believe, of course.
Time to turn the machine on. The Pentagon says to turn up the frequency tonight. If that shape-shifting ass to me like that again, I swear.
Shut up, Bob. It reads our minds. Just turn it on. The sleeping lambs are waiting for their programming.
Okay, Nancy, but I hope your panties are coming down tonight.
No panties on. I'm horny tonight.
Enjoy the programming, sheeple people. I'm going to enjoy Nancy. Night-night, sweet dreams.
We've just got to not let fear get to us, because that's the control system's most potent weapon.